But I remember it came as an African saying. It was an image which said, "I'd rather be in a bar thinking about God than be in a church thinking about beer." So satsang actually, I guess, could you call it a fellowship? Really?
It is actually literally the fellowship around truth.
Bonjour seekers, life mentors, life masters. Welcome to LifeMASTERsClub. I'm here with Sam.
Hi Vincent.
Hello.
Hi fellows. You're welcome.
So we decided to do a briefing video, a short briefing video, to update those of you who couldn't join the last Saturday Satsang, and to recap the various themes that were discussed, and also to give you like a preview of what can be the next such gathering, which, by the way, we decided to not call satsang anymore, but fellowship in truth.
Yes.
FIT. Yeah, it's funny. I just thought of that too. Okay, so it will be our FIT.
It's fit. It's fitting too.
Yes, feet first. So, so last Saturday, we were planning for a 1 hour thing. It ended up lasting 2 hours actually, but it was very intense and very interesting. We started with a guided meditation, which I gave, which I did a little bit unusual, because normally I would just try to bring people to now, to their senses, and to let go of the activity of the mind. But this time, for the benefit of certain persons who were on the call online, I decided to take us through the different levels of consciousness. So from the body, mind, emotional complex, to the soul, to the spirit and the infinite consciousness. And after that, there was a first exchange between you and one member we will refer to as G, about the way it goes about and the types of prayer, right?
Yes. We looked at the types of prayers. I think it was coming from the point of view of how some Christian churches handle their worships or services, which he wasn't really connecting with more. He used to, but he said he wasn't connecting more to that. So we went into that, and we talked about the various types of prayers. We ended up...
maybe we can list them.
Yes. The first being prayer of request, second prayer of gratitude or thanksgiving, and of course the third, which we feel maybe many don't really relate with very well, is that spontaneous
celebration
of life, exactly, of life, and being surrounded,
and communion.
In
communion,
love, communion also. So that is also seen as a prayer. In fact, it's prayer of the soul.
Yeah.
Not much of a prayer of the tongue, as maybe the other two may actually be. So,
and the prayer are more like prayers of the mind.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yes, exactly. So we went from that to one of the attendees expressing, shall I say, frustration in quotes,
yes,
about all the challenges of the responsibilities you have in the physical, marrying that with the expectations maybe of the universe on you at the spiritual level. So as a matter of fact, I forgot this other part where I had to make him realize that yes, he could have frustrations with some doctrines, dogmas in some places, but not necessarily everywhere. That there are still Christian gatherings where you can get to see the exact purpose of Christ in his body, which is love. These ones still make love the foundation of, whatever they do. Even if they have doctrine and dogmas, they are built on this love of Christ, which he gave to us as a gift at his ascension. So, yeah, which I think resonated with him. He was even welcoming of it. So then we now went into the area where he expressed.
I remember that at that point, I pointed out that his struggle with the responsibilities of life were very much to do with his confusion about his self-identity. Because yes, if you identify with the ego, the body, mind, emotions, you can be confused between many objectives and tasks and conflicting priorities, which get much more clear. The priorities become much more clear when you detach your identity from this body and you see yourself as a spiritual entity. A soul having a physical experience and driving an incarnated life, rather than seeing yourself as an incarnated life having occasionally a spiritual experience. Then of course you're still struggling with all the necessities of life, and now your spiritual life is one more burden on top of all the other burdens you have to survive. While if you identify as a spiritual being driving an incarnated body, you never forget your priorities, and your spiritual life is your essential life, and then you occasionally take care of business.
Exactly.
And we joked about the image of a car, a vehicle, since we said the body is like a vehicle for the soul to embody its life. And we said jokingly that what's the point of worrying about all the mechanical details of the car? What's the point of focusing on the polish of the paint if the car has no engine, no wheels, no petrol?
It can move.
So, and also a good driver is not constantly looking at the gauge or at the GPS or at the wheels or at the engine. He's essentially focusing on his destination. And he's not asking the GPS or the car to give him the destination. You should know where you want to go. Then you can drive there yourself if you know the way, or you can input the destination in the GPS. But if you start asking your destination to neighbors or the GPS, you will be confused.
Where do I go today?
So that was an interesting portion and fun. We had quite some fun.
Yes, we did.
Then we went into a little bit more abstract, because one member objected that you can't always have that point of view, and then what's the purpose in the end of all this? If life is an illusion, what's the purpose? And so we gave the image, the analogy of the sun being a star, being the source of light, the only source of light in our solar system, and that his experience as a sun, as a star, is an experience of darkness. And the only experience of light that the sun can have is the reflection of his light on the planet.
On the planet, yes.
And in that sense, as an enlightened person, we are there are two ways we could look at it. We could look at it as a star, and then we should shine our light as best as we can on the not yet enlightened fellows who can receive the light and reflect some of it, and it's already an experience, an interesting experience. But more accurately, as an enlightened person, it's more that we are more of a mirror quality to mirror the light from the actual sun, which is the sun from the center of the universe, the infinite divine consciousness, showering its light on all of us. And as we perfect ourselves as a soul and as a body, we can become very efficient mirrors to reflect his light onto our fellows. And of course, I'm even giving it in a slightly different way now than it was given during the...
As a matter of fact, I don't know whether I mentioned this on that day, but I mean, it comes to mind now that that's actually why Jesus said that we are the light of the world.
Yes.
You know, like who lights up a lamp and puts it under the bushel? No. It has to
no
shine.
One lights up a lamp and put it under the bed or under a pile of wood. You will put it in a high place to light up the neighborhood.
Not only yourself, others,
And by the way, interestingly, also, even in Buddhism, Gautama Buddha, his last words were to one of his disciples who was actually a little bit complaining to him, very frustrated, because during his lifetime, the Buddha managed to enlighten, it is said, he managed to enlighten about 500 people.
Okay.
But one of his chief disciple, his name was Ananda, I think, was not yet enlightened, even though he was very wise and mature, but he was not enlightened. And he was kind of sharing his sorrow to Gautama Buddha, who was on his deathbed. And the last words of the Buddha to him actually enlightened him. And the last words were, "Be a light upon yourself." At least that's what I remember. Those who know better will be welcome to correct us in the next gathering or in writing. Anyway, this is a new addition. But we also had a few more exchanges after that, a little bit about church proceedings, a little bit about... we had a few funny exchanges about making analogy of puppets and puppeteers with the soul and the body. And that was a little bit funny. And I think you were not too fond of that, but I enjoyed it.
Yes. We won't try to. Yes, it was funny. Yes, it was.
So anyway, the idea of this video is not to give you an exhaustive account of all that was discussed, but just a little feeler about what to expect, and to encourage those of you who didn't join to join next time. And of course, we are very satisfied that those who joined will probably want to join again. Also, you are welcome to the club, online or in person.
Yes.
Maybe also, as you mentioned earlier, we should do a longer video.
We are going to have another video, and we're going to be looking at the consciousness of Christ. If that has actually been something that you've been interested in,
actually,
join us.
Yes, actually, Gaurav, sorry, I should not mention the names. One of our members sent a message in the chat room asking for us, for all of us, all the club members who can, to clarify this concept of Christ consciousness. Because he is struggling to really understand it. I already offered a few hints, but I think it will be a very interesting video, and I have no idea what we will say about it, but
No, not
it
yet.
will be fine. I have a few ideas, to be honest.
Well,
But
that's
it's
nice.
always surprising and interesting when we discuss, especially with you.
Yes, that would be very interesting to examine Christ's consciousness.
And you know, guys,
It's very
with
important.
Sam, we don't always have the same point of view,
Oh no, not all the time.
but we never disagree. We also never agree. We simply have different point of views, and because we love and trust and respect each other, we always accept the other point of view as an acceptable one, and we always try and as much as possible get to it, or sometimes
points of view
to point out that maybe it's a point of view that is found difficult to reconcile, and therefore it may require a deeper look.
Deeper examination of it, deeper understanding of each other's points of view.
And we will be doing a lot of that here in the club, and occasionally we'll do some videos. By the way, those of you who are interested in being in a video, you are very, very welcome in person, or we can also do it on Zoom, but we prefer to do it in person here in the clubhouse, so as much as possible. So I believe this is good enough.
For those who do not know where the clubhouse is, yes, it's at Suite 605, Indigo Tower, JLT.
Cluster D, like Dubai, right next to the DMCC metro station.
Yes.
And right next to the Almas Tower, where the DMCC authorities are situated. Yes. Anyway, that's it for today, and we'll get together soon for another Fellowship in Truth, FIT. And also, at some point, either before that or after that, we'll try to do a video on the Christ consciousness.
Yes.
And if it's good, if we find it good enough, we will publish it, but otherwise not. Like in the past few days, we did a couple of videos which we couldn't publish.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Namaste, sayonara, hasta la vista, baby.
Okay, see you in love.
Cheers.
Bye.
I think this one is good enough. And except if Sam has something to add, we can call it a day.
So, in that journey, I wish you well. The road ahead is rough. It's a marathon. The race is not a sprint.
See you next time. I really enjoyed it. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye, Sam.
Bye.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was authentic. That's what I enjoyed about listening.